guys, welcome back to RL Design Innovation. Today, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make a Harley Davidson clock. I'm also gonna show you how to make a clock from scratch, where you just bring some clip art, put numbers, how you carve it. And I'm also gonna show you, if your clock mechanism doesn't come with one of these hooks, how to make one using basswood, cutting out a couple little things, and create your own hook for your clock. Not all clock mechanisms come with it, so let's get over the workstation, let's get started. Let's have some fun. Okay, so these are the different pieces of plywood we're gonna use. One is a walnut based, has some really nice grain. That's gonna be the front of the clock we cut out. The next one is gonna be bass. We're gonna use this as the base behind it because I like to do 2 layers. And I'm going to cut them out twice just so we don't get any burn on the bottom layer and so that we can have a more exact cut just in case things shift. Even though we can clamp it down, I just don't like doing that. And also, I'm going to show you how to make a cleat bracket that we're going to layer behind the clock. We'll make these little pieces. We will design these brackets in LightBurn and they'll act as a cleat bracket. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into LightBurn. And then from there, we're going to design a clock, show you how to do it from scratch. And then from there, we'll bring up, I think I'm going to do a Harley Davidson clock that I found a long time ago. We'll modify it a little bit, and we'll go from there. So let's get into LightBurn. Okay, I'm in LightBurn 2.0, release candidate 4. They will be releasing release candidate 5 shortly, as there were several bugs. One of them that I noticed is when you do a calibration of the material where you're setting the camera, lining it with, the material, is after you do that, within a little while, the units change from millimeter to a minute to millimeter a second, or whichever you have it set. So they do change. That's a bug they know of. So, but if you don't do your calibration of the material, like I didn't do it now, I have it loaded, the settings should stay the same. So the first thing I'm going to do, like always first, is just show you how we focus. The laser will come over here, and then we'll go over here, and we just hit focus. Okay. And another thing, what I do is, I mentioned this on another video, every time I do a calibration of a material, I then go through and adjust the offset so it's perfectly aligned, and I keep a little log. Let me show you what that looks like. This is just a new log that I just started because of LightBurn 2.0. So I have 3mm wood in LightBurn, just to show you a difference. In LightBurn 1.708, let me make that a little bigger, the offset is minus 0.05, Y minus 0.4. The exact same calibration that I did for the material, just to show you the difference. In LightBurn 2.0 release candidate 4, the X is 0.4 and the Y is 0.2. So it's difference, as you can see, just from going from the different releases. You can see from going from 1.708 to the LightBurn 2.0 release candidate 4, you can see the differences between the offsets. So I just wanted to show you that I do keep a log. I have it in written format, and then I also have it in a digital file, digital notepad file. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to start playing. We focused the laser. I'm going to go into my project files and then bring up the clip art. We're going to do one just as a basic one for tools. If you want to take a tool symbol and turn it into a clock, I'm going to show you how easy it is. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to bring that in, bring it right here. You can see it's just a wrench and a screwdriver. Like always, the first thing I do after I bring it in, I trace it. And this is so I turn it into line art and that I can manipulate it. And you'll see what I mean in a second. See, as you can see, I have that there. I'm going to get rid of the base one. Now I'm going to move this over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the wood for now, just to show you how we play with this. Okay, so this is the image I brought in. As you can see, it's one unit, no big deal. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to hit ungroup. Now, you can see I can move these individual components around, just like in the Intarsia video. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to make this clock a little bigger. I'm going to move these things around right about here. And this layer, I'm going to make this the black layer, which it is. Now I'm going to bring in, and we'll adjust the alignment of these in a second, but let's bring in some numbers. So I'm going to put one here. I'm going to say we're going to put 12. And then I'm going to put, and we'll line them up in a second. 6. We'll say 3. We'll say right about here. 9. And I'm going to stop there for now. So the whole purpose of this is to show you how to do this. I'm going to do this as a red layer, just so you can see this. Let me just make these all the red layer. Okay, and then I'll show you what happens in a second. We'll go through this quick. Okay, these are all the red layers right now, okay? Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna align these. I think I like this like this. The first thing I'm gonna do is turn the black layer, excuse me, go to layers. Gonna go over here. The black layer, I'm gonna make a fill. So I'm gonna make those into a fill, okay? Now you can easily adjust this. Say you want it like this. Say you want it like something like this. So in essence, this could be representing 11 o'clock, something like this. This could represent 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. It doesn't matter. However you want it. The next thing I want to do is align the numbers. So you can see right here is where the center is. 6 is good. 12's off a little bit. So right about here, I want it just about there. So if you look here, and I'm using this crosshair right in, you see the lines moving around? I'm going to line it right about here, right there. Now I'm going to do the 9. I'm going to line it right about here, horizontally. I'm going to move it in just a tad, right about there. And then I'm going to move this in right about, let's see, right there. Okay, now if you want to see how it looks, you hit Alt-P. And there you go. So now you can see we're creating a clock. You can see, this wrench is off a little bit. I don't like it. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to move this right back, right about here. And again, you could do whatever you like. You could put text in here, happy tooling, whatever it wants to be. The next thing what I want to do, I'm going to make an ellipse because I'm going to want this to be a round clock. I'm going to start right here, right about here. I'm going to make that a different layer. I'm going to make that, let's see, I'll make that the green layer. Again, you can do whatever you like, just so you can make that as a cut. So the first thing we're going to do, black is a fill. Red, I'm gonna cut those numbers out. I'll leave that as a line, and I have to adjust the power and all that. And then green would be cut. So then we can go from there. So we, in essence, if I go right here, you just created a clock. Pretty cool. You can, again, do whatever you'd like. I could put some text in here. I could change the fonts. You can, whatever, we'll just say tool time. Tool time, okay? Over here, and after I do this, I'm gonna go back here, go over here. Maybe I'll make it a little smaller. Tool time, make it right here. I'm gonna make that a fill. Now I'm gonna actually change the layer on that. I'm gonna make that orange, okay? And I'm gonna make that a fill. Let me move this right here. Now move this up. There you go. So I just moved that up, okay? So Alt-P, and there you go, 2 time. Real quick to make a clock. Now let's clear this, and we will then start our Harley Davidson clock. We have this here. Now I'm gonna bring in my Harley Davidson. Bring that in, make this bigger. Now, I'm gonna put this in here. Let me show this real quick, see how, now, okay, I think that's a good size. We'll put it right about here. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trace this. Trace, hit OK. You see it's there, delete this. So now, let me unshow this again, so you get an idea. Highlight this all. Now I'm going to make this, I'm highlighting it. Now I'm going to make this my red layer, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an offset, and we're going to save that for later, but I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to hit offset, and let's see. I think I'm going to do a 1.5 millimeter. Now let me go zoom in and click on the offset layer. Go right here. I'm going to make this green. Okay. Now, let me go to my layers. So you have your red layer, which we're going to cut out. The green layer, which is the offset, I'm going to save that for when we do the backer board, the second layer. So let's do this first. And I could, if I want to put writing on here, but I'm not. I'm just going to have this. I'm not going to show this. I'm not going to output this. I'm not doing the green layer. Now I have to adjust the power. So speed 16, power 95. Okay, so we have this laid out. Let's see how it looks with that right there. I think that looks pretty good. We could probably move this up a little bit. Here, I don't go right to the edge, but I go close enough so I'm not wasting a lot of wood. Because wood's a premium, so I'm going to go right here, especially these walnut boards. And you can zoom in if you want just to see where we're at. I could actually move this over a little more. Go right there. And if you wanted, you can zoom up here a little bit to say, hey, I can go up here a little more if I wanted to. Right about there. Make sure we're good. I think we are good. So we have a lot of savings that in the future I can use this wood from here. Again, I'm not doing the backer board right now. I'm just doing, let me do this at 100. This is walnut board, so it's a little hard. And I'll do it 16. You're ready to go. Again, I hit Alt-P to see that's what's going to get cut out. And I think we're good. So I go to laser, hit start. Again, I have it set up so a reminder comes out. My focus we did, my exhaust fan is on, the air assist is on for cutting. So hit yes. Okay, it is done. It just finished. Pick out some of the pieces, but let's see. Came out pretty good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the backer board, like I said. And these, I'm not going to have to make a wedge to hang the clock. If you notice, built into the clock mechanism is this little bracket. What I was going to do was, using the laser and the basswood, make little brackets like a, and I'll show you, we'll do that next after I cut this out, of what you can do in the future if your clock mechanism does not have that support. So let's go on and continue. Let me switch the piece of wood out and we'll do the back, and I'll show you how to do just the back without cutting out the motorcycle. Okay, so I put in the other piece. Let me update the picture. And then you see this. So we're good. Let's go to the layers. We're not cutting out this anymore, but we're going to cut out the back. Okay, let's go to the piece here. Let's change the power and the speed. Speed, I'm going to do 20 at 100 power. Hit OK. Now I'm going to focus, even though they're pretty much the same in thickness, I always refocus. It's a different type of material. Could be a little bit different in terms of millimeter, a fraction of millimeter, I should say. Another tidbit, what I do is, after I cut all of these pieces out on the bed, I use my shop vac, which is connected to a sorting bucket, and I just vacuum over the bed. This way it sucks up any of the little pieces that came out of this. That way I don't have to take the bed grill out, clean it, at least for now. I got almost everything out this way. So we have this set. Alt-P again, I always do this. As you can see, it's going to cut this out. That will be the backing of this to make it a little thicker. Okay. And now we're going to cut this out. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just adding the lay here. And what I decided I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that third layer, just the offset layer, the backer piece, this piece, I'm going to put that on the back, totally in the back. So that way it'll come out a little bit, but we'll see how it looks. I'm going to cut this out so it gives a little more dimension, a little more thickness, and then we'll go from there. So let me just speed this up. I'm going to change the speed in this. Cut out no problem with that before. I'm going to do 22. Okay, Alt-P. Output would help. Okay. There you go. Alt-P. That's what we want. We are focused. Okay, this one is done. Just letting it air out a second. I'm going to take it out. Then I'm going to pick out all the pieces and then show you the 2 layers with the backer board. And then from there, I'll decide if I'm going to do all 3 layers. In the interim, what I did is I took the walnut layer and I sprayed it with a clear coat of lacquer. That's just about dry. And we'll look at all these in a second. Okay, so I just finished the other backer board on this. And I don't know why it's so satisfying when you get to push out the little pieces with a little tiny mini jeweler's screwdriver. It just, I don't know what it's like, why it feels so good, but it feels great pushing those pieces out, and then you get a beautiful design like this. It's just awesome. Okay, so I put both pieces together on here like this. You can see it's a little dimension. Obviously, I'm moving it around right now. I would have to glue it, but then this is what I'm thinking. Is then, after I do that, try to get it situated so it's perfect, which is hard to do when they're right now 3 pieces, but just to show you what I mean. Something like this. There we go. So you have a little backer board. It's a little, like I said, it's 3 pieces. I'll glue it up. You have a little border, if you notice a little white, that's the offset we set of 1.5 millimeter. So I'm going to glue this up. Then after it dries, I have to drill out this a little bigger, put the clock piece in. This has already dried. This has a clear coat lacquer on here, so you can see it looks great. So it's either like this. I'm going to decide in a minute if I'm going to do this. You know, have the 2 pieces. Okay, so I'm gluing up the other 2 pieces, but I promised I would show you how to make a little hook if the clock doesn't have one. It's very, very simple. What I do is I start out big so I can see it, see what I'm doing. So it's very simple. You go like here, you go here, and I'm going to go about here. You're going to shrink it later on to size, but this will give you an idea. You go here. You go here. I'm going to go about here. And I'm just lining up with the grids. Keeping it perpendicular. I'm just doing this quickly so I don't bore you. Okay, so that's one. Actually, we should fix this a little bit. Let me go in here. It's a little. So let's go into the nodes. We'll go over here. We'll click this guy right here. And just straighten this out a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be behind. Now, what I would do now is make this a layer. Black layer. But I'm going to cut this out. So this is almost 3 millimeter wood. So I would do 2 of these like this. I would cut 2 of these out, so I'll show you. Let's do this. Control C, Control V. Whoops. Let me go to the selection tool, go over here. Now, picture this. You cut these 2 out, and you stack them. They would be stacked, so it would be a roughly 4 or 5 millimeters, maybe 5.5 millimeters, I should say, because these are a little less than 3 millimeters. Then what you do is you make another one, and this is what we do. So let me do this one more time over here. Now this one, remember, these are stacked over here like this on top of each other. Now the next one, we're going to go to the node tool, and I'm going to bring this ledge down to about here, to about here, and right here. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to print two of this height. You're going to stack them on top of each other like this. I'm going to move it. Let me go over here. Now I would then cut them out. Then you stack them one on top of each other like this. And then the third one, you stack on here like this. So when these are cut out, you glued, it'll come out like a little hook. And then all you have to do is put a screw underneath that, or a nail, whatever you want to use, or a picture hook. And now you just created a pleat for the back of your item. If your clock does not have that. So just glue them. I use a wood glue, like a type bond. I stack them together, glue it onto the piece, let it dry, and then you're good to go. So I hope that gave you a little tidbit so you can see how that is. I drilled out the hole on my drill press. I didn't think you needed to see that. Everyone knows how the drill works. And now let me show you the finished product. Okay, so I used Type Bond 3 to glue the three pieces together. Why didn't I use the spray glue? Because I used this little brush and I put the glue on and I just brushed it on. That way I had control over what was getting glued, because I know I'm going to get questions. Why didn't I use the spray glue like when I did the Intarsia project? So this is a little better. It allows me to put the glue exactly where I want it. So let's look at the finished product. Okay, so this is the finished product. Didn't come up too shabby. Pretty good. What would I have done differently? I still don't know if I should have done the backing of this. It may take away from the detail, but when you hang this on the wall, you're going to see the wall coming through. And this gives you a little more, support to the unit. Again, it's 3 layers. I used regular Type Bond glue to glue the layers. I drilled this out I drilled the clock with an 8.5 millimeter drill bit, popped it in. I think the clock itself cost me $3 for the mechanism. I buy them in lots of 8 or 9 because I do a bunch of clocks. I spray coated this with a clear coat of lacquer, just the walnut piece, and that is our product. So I hope, let me take my glasses off so I can see a little better. I hope that you enjoyed this and that this product gave you something to inspire. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, thumbs up. Next time, another project. Again, hope you learned something.